Welcome to the Scalable Real Estate Investing Podcast, where we discuss the most scalable strategies, tools, and approaches to successfully invest in real estate. Learn how to make the most impact of your time, automate your real estate investing business, find off-market deals with minimum time invested, and leverage your capital to create as many income streams as possible so that you can achieve true financial independence. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Mason Clement. Hi, Scalable Investors. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Scalable Real Estate Investing. I'm your host, Mason Clement, and today we have with us Andy Williams, who develops houses and funds them using credit cards, which I think is a really interesting, unique way to approach things. So I'm interested to have him on and add some value there to kind of open our minds to different methodologies of funding deals. So without further ado, Andy, what's going on? How you doing?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Hanging in there. Good Friday, so can't complain. Although every day feels like a Friday for me now. So I actually just left the day job to focus full time on my business. So it's every day kind of feels the same. It's great.
Yeah, it's good. It's good being able to do what you want to do, how you want to do it. That's like the whole goal of life. Trying to get everything situated to where you gotta work no more. You can work at your own schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, me, I'm Andy. What I do is I teach people how to build houses using credit cards from the ground up. What we do is we take high-limit credit cards, take the money out those credit cards, and then we use that to start the building the process. Then once we get the foundation and the walls up, then we go in and get hard money to pay off those credit cards and then to finish the project. And once we finish with the project, we either refi it if you want to keep it. You can refi it and pay off everything off and have like over 100K in equity, or you can either sell it and make over 100K in equity. So that's what we teach, that process there.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it definitely seems like a lot to unpack there. What I like to do with all my guests starting out is just to back up a little bit and just talk about your background and what brought you to today, what got you into this real estate investing.
Okay, my background, when I was younger, came up single parent, just a mother there, never had a father figure in my life. So I grew up doing bad stuff, got expelled out of school in the 9th grade. And then never went to school back since then. I went to prison at 18, then I turned 18, got out when I was 22. Then once I got out, I had worked for like a year in a nursing home, like washing dishes and stuff. I quit. After that, I decided I wanted to change. So what I did, I went to New York and I bought me a whole bunch of like the baby fat clothes and the jersey, throwback jerseys when they was hot back in like '02. I went and bought that. Then I just came on the corner. I started selling clothes on the corner. Started selling clothes and CDs. I did that for like 4 or 5 years. But in the midst of doing that, I went to school, learning how to paint cars, a trade school. So like 2003, from 2003 all the way to 2011, I was painting cars. I went to trade school, learned how to do it, opened up my own shop, and started painting cars. Then like in 2011, 2012, when the market was still low, I seen somebody doing real estate that I knew. So I was like, I know if he doing real estate, I could do it. He had like 10 houses, but he was like from the block. So it's like, this a regular person. I know him, and I know he's not a person to where like the real estate was given to him. So he had to go out and get it. He had 10 houses. So I said, if he could do it, I know I could do it. So I bought my first house then for like 14,000. It was a duplex. That's when everything was still cheap. I got that duplex, and once I got that duplex, I just had it for a while, rented it out. Then 2016, I decided I want to do this as a business, so I started wholesaling. Started going to seminars, checking out different spots, learning different things. Wasn't really getting much from them. Everybody give you a little something, but they don't give you too much. So in 2000, probably like I did that for a couple of years, and like when I stopped able to, came a time to where the deals I was getting, they weren't selling in time for my the days that they give you on the contract to wholesale. So what I do is I close on them. I close on them and just do a little makeup to it, and just resell it to another investor. Just make it look better, make it look like you don't have much work to do. And then like in 2020, I decided that was getting slow. It wasn't too much margin in between it anymore. So I decided I'm just gonna start building. So it took me like 3-4 months to really get it going because I was kind of scared. I didn't know what to do, how to do it. I had no contacts. I was just going off faith. But I just ended up going ahead and doing it. And then got that first one done. Then it became like clockwork. It got easy for me, and now I've been doing it ever since. And I got like 5 projects going on right now.
Okay, that's really interesting. So, what was the first development deal like? Because I mean, every time you start something new, it's breaking through a lot of these mental blocks. So, how do you really get through that, and how do you fund that deal versus how you're doing it now?
Yeah, that one. The reason why I came up with a credit card deal because it was harder for me to get funded. Like I'm a convicted felon, so everybody look at your background. They look at that. They want to see tax returns, all that. That was stuff I didn't have at the time. But I knew it was easy for me to get credit cards. All I had to do was have a good score, and you could easily get credit cards. So what I did was just found a way to get them high interest, well not high interest, but high limit credit cards for business. The business credit card, they give you high limits. And I just started using those, taking the money off of those, and using that to fund my project. That way I didn't have to go get a loan until it's time for the hard money guy. And the hard money guy just want to see he want to see you with some skin in the game, and he want to see something that's there. He want to see something visible that he can lend on. In case you default, he'll be like, okay, well, yeah, I can have somebody else to finish this, and it won't cost me as much. So they'll lend on once you have the foundation and the walls up, they'll lend to you because now they got something to lend against. So I started that process from that. And then teaching it ever since. I teach that process for the people that can't get the funding right off top. It's hard. They ain't got everything they need to get bank funding. I teach the credit card way.
Okay, so do you have like a course or something that people go to sign up, like a video course, or is it just one-on-one coaching with you, or how's that work?
No, I do boot camps. I got a boot camp coming up June 11th and 12th, where I teach them the whole step-by-step process on how to build a house for themselves. When they leave, that's a 2-day boot camp. But once they leave the boot camp, they'll know how to build houses on their own. I teach them. I have the hard money lender guy there. I have a credit person there. What we do also too, like for the people who credit not ready, I pay to get their credit repaired so they can go ahead and start getting the cards to start to play. But I'm gonna have the credit guy there. I have the hard money guy. I have the architect, engineer, I have the block guys. I got all the workers coming to the boot camp, to talk to them and explain to them what they need, and they can ask questions. But I teach people how to do this in their area, or they can do it in our area. So it's like it works anywhere. And then on that second day, that Sunday, I take them to all the projects I have going on and show them everything firsthand.
Okay, and where is this that
It's
people got to
in
go to?
Clearwater, Florida. We do it in Clearwater, Florida every 3 months. And then my Instagram is at Andy Buy Houses, Andy Buy Houses, ANDYBUY Houses. And then you can check my bio. I have everything in my bio. And then it still be people that be skeptical too. So what I did, I made an ebook for them too. That's showing them the whole thing too. Like it's an ebook I have too. They can get in my bio. I think I said it for like $100. And they tell them the whole step-by-step process on how to build a house. So some people like to buy the book first before they jump into coming to the boot camp. But it basically gives them a breakdown on how to build a house using credit cards.
Okay, yeah, that's really interesting. So, when you're first applying for it, say I got like a decent credit score. I mean, I guess the first thing to be aware of is there's the personal credit and business credit. So are your mentees opening up credit cards that are tied to their personal credit, or is it the business credit?
We want them to get the business, but it could be a personal PG because it still won't show on their personal. Their personal, like if they go get the card and let's say they get a $30,000 card, they take 20 off a business card, it won't show on your report because it's on the business side. But if it was a personal card, it'll show. So we teach everybody to get the business card because you could utilize those better, and it won't affect your credit score.
Okay, yeah, I had a guy on my podcast several episodes back. I forget which episode number it is, but he was talking about that differentiation there, and it really opened my mind to it and building business credit. So that's really interesting, really complimentary. I'll put that link in the show notes to folks that want to check out that episode too. But the thing that he mentioned in it, the reason I bring up that episode is that he was saying that some credit cards are marketed as business cards, but they actually still tie to personal credit. So I don't want to like necessarily have you give away all your secrets and how to exactly do it. Obviously, people can buy your ebook and stuff. But I'm just curious, just to at least scratch the surface to give people a little bit of flavor. Like, where do you go? Like, who's offering stuff actually tied to a business credit versus personal credit on those credit cards?
Like a lot of banks that you deal with offer business credit cards. That a lot of people don't ask for them. A lot of people just ask for personal credit card or apply for personal. But banks like we use Navy Federal a lot. I have Navy Federal card. I got Amex cards. I have what we use a place called what it is. We use hold on a minute. It's like it's a lot of different places. Like you just won't know because you don't ask for it. But everybody has like the business credit cards, and the whole goal is to get credit cards that's like 0% interest. The business card you can have 0% interest on them. So you want to try to get those. Once you
At
get
least,
those, go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say at least like the first 12 months, like introductory rate, right?
Right, and then within the first 12 months, you build within 8 months. So you're beating that 12-month deadline that they have for the introductory rate.
Okay. And then after that, are you closing out that card and open a new one for the next build?
No, we still keep them. And then what we do, we keep them, and after you don't use so much money on it, that they start increasing the limit on them because they see you using it a lot, and then you get higher limits. And then what you do, like you can take those cards, and then even the interest. Let's say the interest rate do hit. It's like you don't have to pay the whole amount right off, so you just have to pay the minimum on it, and then once you sell the house or whatever you do with the house, you can use that to just pay that off, and it's like you got it for free because it didn't cost you nothing out of pocket. You got the money from the house to pay it off. So that's kind of like getting your loan from a bank or someone else. It's like a loan that you're getting, but it's just through a credit card.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I know that you can do cash advances and balance transfers, but are you just typically teaching to have people just put all charges on there, like just normal charge, or are there cash advances and stuff going on?
No, it's other ways that we get it off. Like we do. You ever heard of manufacturer spending?
Manufacturer spending, no.
That's where you could take credit cards. Like you could go get let's say for instance, you got a card and you want to go to like Dick's Sports. You could buy something expensive in Dick's Sports. Just say they got like some expensive golf stuff. Let's say you spend $5,000 on something, and then what you'll do, you'll go back. You'll spend like 4,500 on your credit card. You'll spend the other 500 on your debit card, and then what you'll do is like you'll take it back. Cover the next day, take it back, and they're gonna ask for one of the cards you have on file, and you can just use your debit card. And then once you use your debit card, you put the money back on the debit card. Now you have all that in your bank account.
Oh, okay. That's really interesting. They just reverse that charge and
Right.
then providing that cash. Huh.
Right. That's one way to do it. And another
Okay.
thing we do, we have them like with the credit card, you can buy gift cards. And with the gift card, you can buy money orders. So we have them do that sometimes too. It's different strategies that we teach to get the money off the card. Then there's some companies, like a company named Melio, where you can just go there and they take the money off the card and they give you 3%, they charge you 3% to take the money out.
Okay, well, that sounds more like a cash advance, but what's that company name?
Melio, Melio.
Okay. Melio.
Yeah.
Right? Melio? Okay, cool. That's very interesting. Yeah. But yeah, I guess the rates will vary. So 3%, that sounds pretty decent. That's 3% of the total principal that you're pulling out of there, right?
Right.
Okay.
That's like the quickest way. The other ways are other ways where you won't get charged a percentage, but if you just want it right off and you don't want to go do all that legwork, companies like that, Elio, you can take it right off.
Okay. So is there like a minimum credit limit that folks need to start with? It's got to be 20 or 30,000. Otherwise, don't bother applying for that card.
You said minimum credit score?
Not credit score, just like the credit limits. Like, for example, I got a $5,000 credit card that's a zero fee if I do cash advances. It's through some credit union, PIN Fed credit union, and the credit limit sucks. I can't do much with $5,000, but obviously eventually I could ask them to increase it. But what's the usual credit limit starting out that you need?
Like you want to have a card, and at least another thing too, we teach it like how to hide your utilization on cards. You know how to do that?
How to like maximize utilization on it?
Like, okay, for instance, let's say you got two 20K credit cards, and then let's say you take 10 off each one of those. It's gonna show that you owe 10,000 on each card. So what we do is we set the date. One card date we're gonna set at the beginning of the month. The other card date we're gonna set to the middle of the month. And then we're gonna take that one card we owe 10 on. Basically you're gonna use the other card, you're gonna transfer the money back and forth and just keep the money going back and forth between those two cards. And it's showing that you don't owe anything, but you got the 20K out. You know what I'm saying? Let's say that one card you got 10, the reports at the beginning of the month. And one that report at the end of the month, you're gonna take the $5,000 off of that and pay that one down that report at the beginning of the month. Then once you get close to the middle of the month, you're gonna take the money, $10,000 off that one card that got everything on it, and go pay off the other card. And just have it set up to where it keeps going back and forth from this high utilization, showing that you don't owe anything. And then you got that 20K already off the card that you could be using to flip. So that's another little strategy we teach too. But you want at least a limit of probably I'd say 20K at the minimum to be able to do it, unless you'll have to do a lot of that hiding the utilization with those low cards. And it could be a lot of work.
Yeah, that makes sense. You got to have some capacity there to have some leeway to move things around. That's what you're saying.
Right.
Okay. What I was just thinking too is like, the cost to build in Clearwater, Florida may differ from other parts of the country. So how do you factor that in when you're teaching folks how to build?
Basically, I have them go, every city have a hot spot, a spot where stuff is high, expensive. So what we do is we want to go on the outskirts of them hot spots. So we want to go to the spots that's like the next to pop. So those are the areas we go find in the lots. And we find the lots while it's still cheap because nobody really buying there because everybody's in the hot area. So we go to the next hot spot. We go to buying the land there. And then once the hot spot get booked up, everybody's coming out. So we build right there. That's where we build at. And then the market, the price of those areas are going up like the hot spot. So what we do is we teach them how to get those areas, buy the material to build, and then by the time the hot spot get too hot, everybody coming to you, and the price of that shot up, but you got it at a low price. So we teach them to find those type of areas in that city. You don't go dead in the hot spots that cost an arm and a leg. You go right to where they got to come to.
Okay. Is it on like the edge of the city, or it's just like a different neighborhood within the city still?
It's not neighborhoods within the city.
Okay, just a different neighborhood.
What area you live in?
I'm right outside of Dallas in Richardson.
In Dallas?
DFW. Yeah, in Texas.
Okay, yeah. I know Dallas like that too. Dallas got a lot of y'all still have a lot of cheap stuff, but y'all got a lot of stuff that don't went up. And those are the type of areas I'm talking about. The area that used to be cheap or the area nobody want to live in. Now everybody trying to get there because the price of the stuff don't went up with there. But you still can find some stuff kind of cheap in that area. That's the type of area we be targeting.
Okay. Yeah, I used to live in Austin for like over 4 years. And I think that's a good example too, because I know when I lived there like over 10 years ago, East Austin was not a desirable place, but now it's like, super charged, up and coming place everyone wants to be at. So,
right.
Yeah. Very interesting. Okay. How do you determine that? Is there like heat maps or something to see like kind of a trickle of additional development kind of making its way to those not so hot places, or What's the process like?
You can just find a realtor in your area. Find a realtor, and they'll be able to let you know what's the hot spots, what the next up and coming spot. Or you can go down to the city, like you can go to the city and you can see the developments that's coming up. You can see like where are they bringing buildings, where are they bringing stuff at? They bringing stuff in certain areas that you know that was not hot, but now they bringing something big there. That lets you know that it's going to be an up and coming area. So you're gonna want to get stuff there before want everybody to see that they bringing stuff there. Then everybody gonna start running over it. You want to like beat the market.
Okay, so maybe start looking at some permits and county records and stuff.
The permits, county records, you can call. If you don't want to do all that, you can just call a realtor. Just say you're trying to find. Say I'm looking for. You can say you're looking for a house, but I want it in an area that's not a hot area. I want it in the up and coming area, and that'll give you an idea of what's the up and coming areas. So where it's not as hot or as high as the other areas. They'll be able to guide you along that path.
Okay. Cool. I was curious too, I guess the first thing too, we already talked about you need a card that's at least like 20,000 credit limit, but how frequently can you ask them to increase that limit?
It's usually like some cards every 3 months, some every 6. It all depends on what card you get. I know American Express, I think American Express is every 3 months.
Okay. And that didn't affect your credit score or anything, just asking for a limit increase, right?
No, especially not with American, because once you apply and get American, they use that same time that you applied. They use that one credit hit, that one pull. They use that every time for the cards you request. Like you can request probably like 4 or 5 cards you can get all their cards that they have. And they don't redo it. They don't re-hit you with the hard inquiries when you do that.
So you're saying if I apply for 5 credit cards, they just do 1 credit inquiry for all of them?
American do, not everybody, just American.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, Max, it's really interesting. You just got to, I guess, be aware of annual fees. You do any with annual fees?
Right. Some of them have annual fees, yeah. But then what we do, we use them so much to where we usually get the reward points. We use those reward points. Like we spend like tens of thousands of dollars on the cards, like buying materials and doing what we're doing. So by the end of a project, we don't spend so much on the card to where the annual fee don't really matter because we don't got so many cash rewards from it. Cash reward points.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Have you considered, maybe you already do this, do you use any like velocity banking strategies or an infinite banking? Are you familiar with those terms?
No, I don't really do the banking part. I have my partner, Gigi. She do like the banking and the credit card part. She do that. She teach that part. I just usually just teach the building part. She's more of the credit side of it.
Okay. Got it.
So,
yeah, I was just, go on.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just asking because recently I was speaking with someone who's using a HELOC for velocity banking to basically shift their 30-year mortgage over to HELOC. So that way, and then like you're just putting all your paycheck or your monthly income on directly on that HELOC. So you're accelerating that and paying off the mortgage in like 3 to 5 years. It's just an interesting concept. And I think you could probably do it with credit cards too, especially using your strategies. But there's always that argument like, well, should you pay off that mortgage when the return you can earn on something else is going to be dramatically higher? But I don't know. It's just an interesting way to look at it. It's a lot of mental gymnastics, but I don't know if you heard about any of those strategies.
No, we don't use none of those. We just use straight credit card.
Okay. That's cool. And then the business, could it be a new LLC that I set up like last week or last month, or do they require like a certain amount of history for the business on those credit cards?
No, on a credit card, you could be a new business, but on funding, sometimes funding requires you to have some age.
Funding like from the hard money lenders?
Like lines of credit. Funding, I mean the line of credit. But credit card, you can have a fresh business and get credit cards from it. Because you got to think, you're using your PG, you're using your credit score as a PG. So they basing it off of your regular credit. you're doing it under your business name, so you're gonna get a higher limit. But it's basically they going off of everything you have on your personal credit.
Okay. So this would be a lot easier if you already have a pretty good credit score.
Right. And
Okay.
that's why we for the people that sign up, we just repair their credit. That way when they come, by the time they come to the boot camp, they be prepared, got everything off they needed off so they can apply for the high limit cards.
Okay. What's that process like repairing someone's credit? How do you do that?
I don't do that part. That's what
Okay.
my partner Gigi do. She does that. Basically, she take off like if you have like hard inquiries, if you have like she don't took off some people's student loans. She know how to do bankruptcies, anything that you have on there that's affecting you. She can get it off. It's like you just got to know the law, and you just got to know what they're violating to get it took off.
Okay. Yeah, bankruptcy is an interesting one because I don't know enough about it on the personal side. I've worked a lot in corporate bankruptcy worlds for like the day job previously, but I've heard for personal consumer bankruptcy, it's just like some 7-year time frame as well. Like you can't
Yeah,
apply for a credit card. Or, do you know anything about that?
no, not really. No,
Okay.
not my expertise.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I was thinking because if you have all this credit card debt and things don't work out, I mean it's unsecured, but you got the personal guarantee. Like, what's the worst that could happen if you just couldn't pay it back?
The worst that can happen is just is go on your credit score. You could go like if you got business credit and then you don't pay it off, then we'll don't really want to make you PG it because if you default, it'll hit your personal credit, but it'll never hit long as you're making payments and stuff. So if you do default on it, the worst that'll happen is that your personal credit will get hit.
Okay. I think we've hit most of the questions I got, but you back up a little bit. You said it takes about 8 months for the build. So what's like the total time frame for one project usually from start
Yeah,
to
I don't see
finish?
them. They don't win as quick as 4 months, and then I don't see them take as long as 8 to 10 months. It all really depends on the person. But I say like 6 to 8 months is like the average. Most people do it in 6 to 8 months. It all depends on like how slow you move and how did you have everything lined up. If you got all your workers lined up, if you get buying your materials early and not waiting till the last minute to buy your materials, it goes smoothly and quicker. But if you waiting for the last minute, wait until you get to that point to try to buy your materials or try to find the workers when you need them that exact time, it's gonna be slower. So you want to have everything lined up, and you can go within 6 to 8 months to have it done, from digging in the ground all the way to a finished product.
Okay. And then you get the hard money lender, and then are you listing it like with the realtor or something and selling for full retail value?
The first one I sold, but now I'm just keeping all of them and doing refi, and then Airbnb it. Cause the first one I sold, I sold it for like 292,000, and like a year ago, and now the same property is worth 450,000. So it's like I lost 150K in I lost 150K by selling it. That they had no gain, more equity. So
Okay.
now I'm just keeping everything and just refine it, take my money, get my money out, and then just use that money to keep flipping that money to keep repeating the process.
Okay. And then you just like you pay yourself every month just to pay for living expenses and stuff.
Yep. Okay, just say I have 200 in it, I'll probably take out 250 and just use that 50 as like living expense. And then just let the Airbnb pay for itself, pay the mortgage off.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that's a definitely something else that's advantageous. Like my business, I focus on land, not always infill lots, sometimes rural stuff, but I just bring it up because the problem I've experienced is if you don't own the asset, obviously there's no depreciation, especially for land, you can't depreciate land. So even if I own inventory, I can't write that off as a tax shield. So I've been actually considering this year setting a goal to get at least like one short-term rental or some other depreciable asset I can use to offset that income.
Right,
So definitely hear you there. It's definitely a attractive investment thing.
right.
Do you use AirDNA or anything else to like kind of vet the market for short-term rental viability?
What you mean AirDNA? What's AirDNA?
AirDNA is a software that folks use to understand what other Airbnb properties are earning and what they might be able to earn on their property if they start it and all that.
No, I never used that. We just basically look on Airbnb and see what other people with the same thing that we have are charging, and then we kind of base ours off of that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you should also look, I don't know if you use it already, but there's a lot of apps that allow automatic dynamic pricing. So if there's like a holiday weekend or something, then it's going to jack it up for you automatically, and you don't have to like be monitoring all the time. You use any of those?
No, I haven't used any of those.
Okay.
We've done everything manually for now. But once the portfolio build up, then you start finding stuff like that. More handles, more things, more. You'll find stuff like that you really need, and then you start implementing it.
Okay. What's your average stay for Airbnb properties?
Probably like it used to be the weekend, probably about 3-4 days.
Okay. Cool.
Like the weekends book faster. The weekends book more than the weekdays.
Okay.
Everybody,
Do you have like
everybody tries to get away for the weekends.
got it. Are they folks from out of town going to visit?
Yeah, I don't do nothing in town. I do everything out of town. Everybody from out of town. I don't do nothing local.
Okay. Do you require like at least a minimum 2-night stay or something?
Yeah, 2-night minimum. They
All right.
charge usually charge between $210 a night.
Okay, cool. Just based on the surrounding area.
Yeah, and what unit I'm doing. Like I build ADUs too, like accessory dwelling unit behind the house, like apartment garage. And it'd be a 1-bedroom up top and it'd be a garage at the bottom. So like 1-bedroom, we charge like 110 for that. But the front house used to be a 3-2 or a 4-1 or something like that, and then we'll charge 210 for that. The average is 210, but then when it's a hot month or a holiday, then it go up. If it's get slow, then we'll go down probably 199. That'll depend on what time of the year it is.
Okay. And in terms of like determining if you should build a 3-2 or a 4-3 type of house, like how do you determine that?
What's in the area already? We usually do our base model is like a 3-2, 1,500 square feet. We usually take that model and just run with that, keep doing that over and over again. And then if it's in an area that have garages, we'll just add a 2-car garage. But we use the same plan, same everything, just change the garage. Depending on if that area have garages. If they don't, then we just do just the house. But usually 3-2, 2-car, but 3-2, 1,500 square feet. That's what we do.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, it sounds like a repeatable, consistent approach. So very cool. All right. I feel like we covered most everything. Is there anything else you wanted to mention that we should hit on?
No, I was just letting everybody know about the boot camp we have coming up. And then we also have like financing for the boot camp too. Like people need financing, all you need is like a 680 credit score to get inside the boot camp. They'll qualify for financing. And the boot camp is like 5K. Then we have like another program to where like if you want me to hold your hand step by step and walk you through the process of building the house, that's something else that we offer too. So basically that's what we got going on. Clearwater, Florida. You can contact me at Andy Buy Houses on Instagram. Look in my bio, check out the page. We got the ebook, everything you need for you to learn how to build houses.
All right, perfect. Well, this was definitely very interesting. I'm glad to have you on the show, and I'll put all the information in the show notes as well. But for the diligent listeners, maybe they already wrote it down and they're jumping over to your Instagram, sending you messages.
Right.
All right, good stuff, man. Well, thanks a lot for everything. This is great.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, that's another episode of Scalable Real Estate Investing. Thank you for tuning in. Please be sure to leave a review and subscribe on whatever channel you're using to listen or watch these episodes. And also be sure to go to scalablerealestateinvesting.com, scroll to the bottom, and fill out the form to sign up for our email. And you could also reach me directly at mason@scalablerealestateinvesting.com. That's MASON at scalablerealestateinvesting.com. If you'd like to get in touch with me to either partner on deals or even be considered to do your own episode on this podcast. Thanks again, and have a great day.